Like I'm literally going off one viewing here. I literally just finished it before I hit record on the camera here. But that was a little line on there that was just so subtly put on there that I had completely forgotten about it. And when I say misdirection, that was it right there. Hey legends, welcome along to a new episode of Here's Rodder's Reviews. This is another requested video from the channel myself, Zoe. So yes, this is Perfume, the story of a murder from 2006. Now, honestly, this is a film I had never heard tell of before this request came in. And I sat down and just finished it right there now. And do you know what? This is a far better movie than I gave it credit for at the very beginning. It basically starts off with the main character, Ben Whishaw, I hope I pronounced that name right, who plays a character called Jean-Baptiste Grenouille. It's a French name. It's set in France in the 1800s. So yes, probably butchered that name completely. But it's got like a huge cast in here with Dustin Hoffman, Alan Rickman at his finest, and a selection of other very familiar faces that I've seen over the years. But yes, it starts off, his character has been captured for all these murders, and they're just about to execute him, essentially at the start of the film. So they're reading him his rights, and well, not his rights, the list of things that he's done, what's going to happen to him. But then the film skips back and tells his life story, basically from being born right up to what I was expecting the whole way through this movie, to the end sequence and the execution. But it shows his birth, birth to a mother who has just had a series of stillbirths and miscarriages, that sort of thing, and she kind of just drops in the middle of the street. She works in like a fish market, and she just drops down on her back, has the kid, and cuts the cord and just like kicks him out of the way. And you know, he's lying there, not making a noise. She gets up and basically goes back to work. And yes, the baby starts crying. People around the place start freaking out that, you know, she's trying to kill her own baby and whatnot, and she tries to make a run for it. The capturer basically just hang her for that crime. So he ends up in an orphanage. He's brought up and then kind of sent to the workhouses later on. He has this ability to smell. He's basically a super smeller. You know, it's just basically he can pick up scents from, you know, what seems in like parts of this movie 20-30 miles off. He can smell things, and he becomes obsessed with scents and discovering new ones, and he becomes obsessed with a girl and her scent, and you know, he sneaks up on her twice, and she freaks out kind of because, you know, she's selling plums and stuff in the street, and he's very socially awkward. He doesn't know how to talk to people, and she offers him a couple. You know, do you want to buy some? He doesn't react. She leaves. He tracks her down again, and he's sniffing her hair from behind, and she turns around, she freaks out, and she screams, and he grabs her and tries to stop her from screaming. Now, this first murder comes across as an accidental murder, but he becomes obsessed then with discovering that scent again. From there's quite a disturbing sequence where her dead body is lying on the ground, and he's just sniffing her from head to toe, And the longer she's dead, the scent starts to disappear. And he becomes obsessed with discovering how to preserve scents. And this is where Dustin Hoffman's character comes in. And he ends up taking him under his wing, teaching him how to create perfumes, getting the different elements of each perfume together. And I'll just call him John for the rest of this. I'm not even going to try and butcher his French character name in this. He proves himself by creating a scent that Dustin Hoffman's character has been trying to replicate for what seems like years at this point of a competitor's. So he takes him on under his wing, buys him out of slavery from the workhouse, and yes, John starts to experiment with things that I'm not going to get into the details of how they get the elements of each different perfume. It's a whole process of boiling, getting the steam to, form back into water. So they've got this big tank where you can just stuff stuff into it, and light a fire below it, and it burns up everything inside it, and the water droplets that come out of this from the steam and condensation creates the source of all the perfume, the essential oils, essentially. So he starts to experiment with different things, trying to preserve the scents of stuff. He's melting down iron and copper, and Hoffman catches him trying to distill the scent of a cat through this thing, and he freaks out. He's like, you can't do this sort of thing. And there is another way that he knows of that you could perhaps do that, but he doesn't know himself how to do it. But there's another town that may know how to do it, and the deal is he will set Jean-Baptiste free to go discover what he wants to learn in exchange for 50 different completed perfumes that he can sell and keep his shop open. But that's short-lived. Throughout the film, this part of the movie, Hoffman's house is kind of every once in a while it'll shake and judder, and the whole thing collapses the day Jean-Baptiste leaves. So he goes off to this new town, and to cut a long story short, he basically becomes a serial killer, trying to find these elements to create this perfume, this scent that he's thinking on. And yes, we are introduced to Alan Rickman's character and his daughter, who is played by, oh gosh, I had her there a second ago. No, Rachel Hurd-Wood. She is brilliant in this movie. I just wanted to double check her name. Fantastic. This movie, I have to say, very good at misdirecting. I really did think for a while. The setup with Hoffman's character explains that you need a certain amount of different things to make a perfume. You've got a base level, middle level sort of thing. So there's 7 or 12 different things, and a 13th that'll kind of combine everything into the ultimate one. And I should say, he did say there was a legend, an ancient Egyptian tomb that was opened, and a perfume was opened, and the scent of that basically made everybody think that they were in heaven, essentially. I think that's the way I put it. I'm literally going off one viewing here. I literally just finished it before I hit record on the camera here, but that was a little line on there that was just so subtly put on there that I had completely forgotten about it. And when I say misdirection, that was it right there. By the end, he is captured I did think that the daughter was going to get away from him. She was going to be the last victim. Rachel Hurd-Wood as Laura, I thought she was going to get away. There's a moment where he finally gets in to her. Alan Rickman is doing his best to protect her at this point. They think they've caught the killer, but he's taking her off to this secluded house, and he thinks he has protected her, but Jean-Baptiste actually gets in during the night, and there is a second where he hesitates. She wakes up, she's in bed sleeping when he gets into their room, and he's about to bludgeon her over the head. She wakes up, looks at him, and there's a moment where, you know, he hesitates and he drops his club, and next morning Rickman finds him dead. So that finds him dead, finds her dead, sorry. So that was it. That was, I was fully, that's what I liked about this movie. Normally I'm about 10 steps ahead when I'm watching something, and it's very rare that I will get caught out in the misleading traps and movies. This one did it beautifully, because we get to the end of the movie, or what I thought was going to be the end of the movie, and we come back to the part where the movie actually started. You know, he's going to get taken out for his execution, basically, and he has the completed scent and a little vial in his dungeon. So I'm not going to spoil the end of the movie for you, but it is definitely not what I was expecting it to be. Yes, definitely go and check this movie out. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, don't let it mislead you at the very beginning. Honestly, at the start of the movie, I could have taken it or left it. If this wasn't a requested video, I probably wouldn't have watched the entire movie. Like, I think within the first half hour, I could have dropped out very easily, but once it gets its wheels in motion, gets you in there, it's a good movie. It's a good movie, and it's definitely worth a watch at least once. This is very good. Did enjoy it, but I don't think it's going to be one that I'll come back to that often. I don't think this is going to go into my list of favourites, but in saying that, there, it is a very good movie, and it's worth watching just for the character performances alone from Rickman and Hoffman. Absolutely fantastic. And it's narrated by, what's his face? Let me get him here. I can't believe it. I am blanking on his name because I absolutely love him as an actor. John Hurt. Yes, the story is narrated by John Hurt. He talks throughout the film, and oh gosh, I'm disgusted with myself. I had to actually look him up there. John Hurt, legend. But yes, the performances in the movie are brilliant. The cinematography is first rate. The scale of the film and extras alone is very impressive. So it's definitely, again, one to have a look at. And if you do, heads up, if you have got a weak stomach, there are parts of the movie that will actually turn your stomach. Thankfully I don't, but I was just enjoying a sandwich 5 or 10 minutes into the movie, and yes, I think if someone has got a weak gut, it's not going to go down well. That's it. I'll talk to you in the next video.